Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of the Breakfast of Champions podcast. It's essentially a podcast about three things: coffee, games, and life. I love to drink coffee. I'm always sitting here at the office drinking coffee. I'm always playing games behind me, and I'm living life to the fullest that I can. And I've got a co-host with me. I don't know where the co-host is. I think the co-host is in a galaxy far, far away. I don't know where the co-host is. There's a co-host. What I want to do is, because a lot of people may not know who this guy is. So this is our great friend Kitsune Bites. His legal name is Aaron. You can call him whatever you want, but welcome in Kitsune Bites, Aaron. Thank you so much for tuning in to the stream and actually being in on the stream as well. The big co-host revealed, there he is. The secret is out.
It is. The secret's out. The cat's out of the bag. I've got my mug here. I'm ready to start your day.
My day? Yeah. So what's your mug currently filled with at the moment?
Well, it's because I'm 5. It's filled with Baja Blast. Totally not sponsored either.
Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Well, okay. So because a lot of people may not know who you are, and some people may not know who I am, I wanted to do a rapid fire, let's get to know each other kind of thing. And I want to become instant best friends with you right now.
Okay.
What's your favorite way to spend a day off?
Oh, favorite way to spend a day off? I don't know. Probably curled up on the couch with my Steam Deck.
Nice.
That's
very good.
What more do you want?
My favorite way to spend a day off, which is usually, I've got a toddler now, so usually it's playing in the playroom with some Thomas trains at the moment, or going to the supermarket, because my son's favorite thing to do is go to the supermarket any chance we can and get Kinder Surprise eggs. Have you heard of those?
Oh yeah, they finally brought those over here after being on hiatus for years because I guess kids were choking on them.
Yes, they're choke hazards. I tell you what. What type of music are you into?
Let me just summarize it into one thing here. I will listen to anything but country music. All right, I'll take classical. I'll take just the most boring background elevator music you can play, but I can't do country. I mean, I can do old country like the Slim Whitman. I could do Hank Williams Sr. I could do that. I could do like when they actually had a reason to cry about why their tractor won't start. But now I just, you know what I mean? So I'm, everything but country.
We've got so for those listening after the fact, the show is currently being streamed on my Twitch channel, and we've got an active audience, and we've got Mrs. KB, your wife, in the chat saying Mongolian throat singing. Is that something you usually pop on your iPod Classic while you do a 45-minute workout, or what? Let
me tell you something, Eric. You're a married guy. You have your little disagreements, and or something they do to kind of it's like, man, if I could just get you back in some way, I could have my sweet vengeance. Well. So when we go on long trips or something, I'll store all the times that I'm like, one of these days, it's like, you know what, I'm gonna play Mongolian throat singing music the entire car ride, or she could also regale you the tale when I played nothing but yodeling for an hour and a half.
There's something wrong with it. Remind me.
I know there is. I mean, it's
Remind me to never pass you the auxiliary when we're in the car together. So
you never know what you're gonna get.
Couple more questions so we can find out if we're instant besties or not. So, what's the best vacation you ever took, and why, and where?
Oh man, best vacation I ever took.
Oh
man,
turn that off.
I would say when I was a kid, my uncle took us all to the Bahamas. That was cool because it was my first out of the country thing. That was cool. But my all-time best, and I know that we're gonna have some people in the chat here that are from the UK. It was when I went over to the UK. That was fun. That was cool. It was different enough. Like I could mostly understand what they were saying. I could mostly figure it out. But there wasn't really a big language barrier. It was there, but it wasn't, so like that was fun. That was an experience I'd love to do again. But my ultimate dream vacation, if you want to know that, a little, little tidbit there, is to Japan.
Ooh, very nice. Very nice. We went to Japan in 2017 for like kind of a belated honeymoon, and it was really great. It was the trip of a lifetime. I've always wanted to go, and I would consider myself a Japanophile. I love everything Japanese. I love Japanese music, culture. Well, some culture, I mean, some of it's kind of off.
Yeah.
Not all of it. But anyway, yeah, it's a great place to be. We loved it. We were there for 18 days, and I'm dying to get back, and I actually would love to live there. I would love to live there. But maybe one day. Okay, we'll do two more here.
All right.
Here's a really great one. What was the last TV show you binge watched?
Oh, Stranger Things.
Oh, yeah, of course, me too.
I mean, that's that's the hottest thing right now, right?
Absolutely, yes, it is. I mean, season 4 just wrapped. We're gonna talk about that a little bit later in the show. No spoilers though. And last question, I think possibly the most important. What's your favorite ice cream and ice cream topping?
Oh, God, that's a no-brainer. I mean, it's chocolate chip cookie dough.
Ooh.
I mean, and the perfect topping, man, is just that nice drizzle of chocolate. You can't go wrong. You could have any flavor ice cream, and you're like, man, this could do for a little hint of chocolate. Boom. There you go. I mean, you throw Jimmy's on it, it's just sugar on sugar at that point. But it's
True.
like, there's no, I don't know. I mean, cherries maybe, but chocolate, man, you can't.
I'm such a boring dude. I'm a vanilla only guy. I like vanilla ice cream, and I only like vanilla by itself. I mean, if I have a little bit of toppings, it might be some Hershey syrup. But even then, it might be too much. Maybe I'm too much of a boomer. I don't know.
Oh my God. Gonna have to change that. We're gonna change that. That's
so
all.
For those that don't know, or just to reintroduce, my name's Eric. Thank you so much for tuning into the Breakfast of Champions podcast. I live here in Australia. I'm a Yankee Doodle down under. And Aaron lives over in Pennsylvania. Is that the state that you live in? That's where you are?
Yeah, good old Pennsylvania out here. Now it's I'm in Western PA. If you really want to get down to it, I'm in Western PA. The good Pennsylvania, not that
not the one I grew up
PA
in.
stuff. No, not that one. No, we don't talk about East PA, but
okay.
here in Western PA, blue skies, like 2 days out of the year. I mean, it's perfect. What more could you want?
I thought you were going to say blue skies over in Western PA, and like Eastern PA is just like hell on earth. You got potholes everywhere, which is actually kind of true.
I mean, yeah, and you'd figure, man, for all the stuff they shovel out there. You got to make sure to wear boots when you go out east.
Absolutely. So. As I said, this is the first episode, the inaugural episode of Breakfast of Champions. It's going to be a little bit awkward. It's going to be a little bit stumbly, but hey, we're here to have fun. So what does the podcast name mean? So Breakfast of Champions is an all-inclusive name. Breakfast of Champions can mean coffee. You can consume the podcast for breakfast any time of the day. Breakfast is a meal you can have any time of the day. Champions can listen to this. Champions can also be people that are champions of video games or of life. So the tagline is coffee, games, and life. I'm always sitting here drinking coffee. We're playing games. Games are a part of our life, and we live life, and we want to talk about life. So it's kind of I want to say like a threefer. Do you know what I mean? Kind of thing. Mm-hmm. You get the idea. Hey, look, if you do want to call into the show, I will have the lines open later on in the show. But if you do want to call in at any stage and leave a voicemail, it's 315-314-4190. Leave a voicemail. You have a 100% chance of getting on the show. Hey, it's wide open. So just leave a voicemail. And there you go. So what do you say we move on to our very first proper segment called the Newsbyte? Shall we do it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Welcome to the Newsbyte segment. So this is a segment where we talk about some sort of news, whether it's something that's happened to us or something that's happening in the world or anything. So I want you to go first. I want to hear what you've got planned for today.
You want to hear what I got planned? I can be boring sometimes, and I'm going to hit you with a little bit of boringness. All right.
There's nothing boring about any of this. What are you talking about?
It's Nintendo news. Of course, it's boring. Come on.
Do you see where I am right now? I'm in like Nintendo HQ. Like I am the uncle that works at Nintendo. Look at me. I'm the guy all the school kids are like, hey, where's that dude with insider information? Oh yeah. I know him. He sits he sits in front of a Sony Trinitron. And he's got come on.
God. I can say this, and I figured this was newsworthy or noteworthy. As a JRPG fan yourself, I'm just now getting into JRPGs. Man, are we eating good this year or what, Nintendo?
For sure.
Mean, come on. They're bringing Persona to Switch. We have Dragon Quest. We got a new Dragon Quest coming. It kind of looked like Pokemon, which was kind of cool.
Oh, yes, it's very true. Yeah.
We have the Nier games; those are coming. We have the Mega Man. It's hard here in my neck of the wood. The Mega Man Battle Network, the collection. I mean, come on, man, where were those at? Where were the ports of those years ago?
Those were some really great games back in the day. I've got a friend in the chat currently who I think was really into those. The Mega Man Battle Network series. It's a really great series of games, but like they changed up the formula for that, so it's kind of like a weird. It is like a role playing game where you play as the Mega Man.exe and you play in this internet world or whatever. So
the dialogue alone is worth it. I mean, some of the cheesy one liners in that game are top tier. And then they said they're remaking the 3D Pac-Man game. So like. I thought that was kind of cool,
Yeah. Well, there's not a whole lot. There's not a whole lot from any of the latest announcements that I'm super keen on, purely because I've totally gone old school for games. I mean, look at me. I've got my Super Nintendo behind me. I've imported all my games and stuff from the States. So like I mentioned, for those that don't know, I live in Australia, and for me to be able to play like the old school Super Nintendo in Australia with voltage conversion and stuff, like the voltage here is like 240 and in the States it's 110, so I have to use a power converter in order to be able to power that thing on. So I'm totally old school, and there hasn't been bathroom break. I'm getting
my Baja Blast on, man.
A Baja Blast. There hasn't been a lot for the new games that I've been super keen on. Live Alive or Live Alive. That's a JRPG. Yes. That is a remake that's coming to Switch here. I think towards the end of the month, and I'm gonna end up picking that up rather than Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Really,
that's interesting because I know you're a big Xenoblade guy.
Yes, so I am. Yeah, I am, and I love that series of games. But I'm just not at the point in time in my life where I'm ready to commit to something like that. I'm not ready to commit to like a 90-hour JRPG. I mean, I can, but the problem is like I only have so much time during the day to do anything, or in the evenings after my son goes to bed, and it's very hard to commit to like a 80-hour JRPG about killing God, because that's essentially what it comes down to every time.
You're not wrong there. You do have to have time for it. But I mean, hey, you can always play the demo of Live Alive or Live Alive.
Yes. Yeah, I could also pick up a translated cartridge of the game as well and play it on Super Nintendo.
Now we're talking. Now we're talking.
I'm heading over to Etsy now to go buy one.
Oh my God.
So for have you got any more news bites or just gaming stuff or anything happening in your life that?
I mean, outside of we're finally wrapping up. Finally, we've been working on my grandmother's house for coming up on 10 months now, every single weekend since mid-September. And we're finally wrapping up, and we'll be listing that soon. So that's going to be amazing and free up a lot of weekends for me. So that'll be awesome.
Well, hey, that ties in perfectly. More time to play JRPGs on your Switch.
That's it. What more do I need? I have JRPGs and time on my hands.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I thought this would be funny for a Newsbyte segment, and the word "bite" comes into play here. So, prior to I'm going to do a long wind up here because I'm a long wind up kind of guy. All right. I like a long drawn out story. I don't know. Maybe I'm boring. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a boomer. I don't know. So it has nothing to do with being a boomer. It doesn't matter. So I, prior to getting the show going, whatever, I was actually away for 3 weeks, or like two and a bit weeks. I had a break from working on all my Twitch stuff, working on all the music stuff. I went back to my old job. I actually worked at my old job for two weeks. Because I'm still good friends with the people that work there, and the guy that works there, the main guy, hasn't had a break in a little while. So I was just like, hey, would you be interested in having a break? We're interested in having a bit of a break. Like Amber wants to spend some time with my son, and we fill in the wage gap. So I went back to work full time for a couple of weeks, which was really interesting. I loved the old job that I had, which was working at a computer and phone repair store. So I was there at the front desk, and I was fixing phones and laptops and there's all computers and all that stuff. It's great. I love that job. I love being hands-on. I love tech. I love all that stuff. I love microelectronics. I even brought my Super Nintendo games with me. I was replacing batteries. I was doing all that stuff. It's very fun. And while I was there, in that town in Victoria, Australia, down under, mate, I caught up with one of my great friends who goes by the name It's Meadows online, or his IRL name is Jared. One of my besties, IRL, and I hadn't seen him in like almost 2 years. So we figured we would tee up a cafe get-together or a date. So I finally caught up with him. I was like, hey, let's catch up Saturday morning at 10. So I went and picked him up. I should have turned to him and said, hey, it's been a while since you've been on a date. Yeah, me too.
Oh my God.
So we go to the cafe. We have a great time. I order a bacon and egg roll, which was like a sourdough roll with, streaky bacon, fried egg, cheese, tomato relish. I don't think tomato relish is a thing in the States.
I can't say I've heard of it.
Okay. It's a very nice condiment. It's a very nice condiment. It pairs really well with breakfast sandwiches, but perhaps a breakfast of champions. I don't know. You tell me. So anyway, I had a beautiful iced black coffee, which my go-to coffee is an iced long black or an iced espresso, whatever. And it came on the plate really hot, and I was just like, I'll give it a couple minutes to cool down. And we're both taking pictures of our meal because the thing that I always say is like I'm such a typical white girl when it comes to taking photos of food. Like I just feel like, oh, hold on 2 seconds before, don't eat. Let me just quickly snap that so I can put that on my Insta story because I need content. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So anyway, I'm having a conversation with him, and I'm eating this roll, and everything's going great, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, my front tooth cracked in half. I lost my front tooth on this bacon and egg roll because it was a very hard bread roll. So I was in the middle of eating, and as you do when you're eating, your tongue goes everywhere in your mouth, like the inflatable man at a used car lot. Just like, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, something's wrong. So my tooth, when I was a kid, I cracked my front tooth on the floor of my school gym while playing dodgeball. I fell and I broke my tooth. They glued it back on, and then that fell off. And then what they ended up doing was put not a crown, but like a filling. Like you have fillings in your teeth. So basically, they made a prosthetic tooth for me, essentially. So that lasted for 20 years up until 2 Saturdays ago. So I'm going to show the photo here. So those of you watching the video feed, you'll be able to see this right now. You can see my tooth is broken. Look at that.
Eric, this is a safe space, man. I mean, did a customer do that? Did somebody throw a laptop at you? I mean, there's no way a breakfast sandwich. There's no way.
I'd like to say somebody did, because then I could sue them and then I can retire. But I mean, thankfully, it wasn't that. It doesn't look as bad. But having a broken tooth is just very uncomfortable, because not only does it hurt your confidence, because not that I'm a smiley guy or, I'm a TikTok dude that I depend on my face to make money or anything like that. But it's just like, it's my look, you know what I'm saying? Like, So if your tooth is missing, I feel like it's just, I don't know, like I'm a shell of myself. So I finally had that fixed over the week this week. And it's the strangest thing. So yeah, my Newsbyte is I had my tooth replaced, like half of my tooth replaced. It looks great. I've got a bright white smile. But dental stuff, I don't know about you, but dental stuff is like my worst nightmare, man. What's your take on that?
Listen, I don't. You got to be a special kind of someone to be like, you know what? Let me play around in someone else's mouth and fix their smile, and
Yeah.
That's no, thank you. Like, I'll tell you what. When I played the new Psychonauts game, they have a warning in the beginning, like this. There's like, if you have like a phobia of teeth or like dentistry, this is not the game for you. And yeah, I can't, like, freaks me out, man. Just thinking about going to the dentist is making me like get all like.
Do you know the first thought I had as soon as I realized my tooth was missing? I was like, I've got to go to the dentist, and it wasn't like, oh no, my tooth is gone. It's like I have to go to the dentist. You know what I mean? So anyway, what had happened was I booked in for the appointment. They quoted me $1,600 to fix my tooth. And I go in there fully expecting to pay $1,600. That it's $1,600 that you have, but you don't have. Do you know what I mean? It's just like I could spend it, but then I can also eat like tomato soup watered down, or just like boiling water in a ketchup packet, and that's tomato soup.
Oh my God.
So anyway, I go in there and the guy's like, oh, actually, it's not as bad as I thought. You have two options to fix your tooth. You could do a crown, which is what they do is they take a porcelain or ceramic thing and then like put it right up to the top of your gum. And then essentially you never see your real tooth again. It's in a casing. Or the other option, which is the option that I went for because it was affordable. You know what I mean? Like it's, a filling. So what they do is they take this is ridiculous. They take scaffolding. Okay. They call it tooth scaffolding. They separate one tooth from the other tooth. And then they pour in a bunch of filler liquid or whatever. And then they turn on a UV light and it dries instantly. So then the guy takes the Dremel and shapes it and everything. Needless to say, as soon as I walked into the dentist, they're like, hi, how are you? And I'm like, I'm nervous, thanks. Honestly, the dentist is my worst nightmare. Mm-hmm. So as soon as I sit in there, I explain to him whatever. And yes, we end up going with the filling thing. So he gets this little cotton swab or the Q-tip, as he call it over there in Pennsylvania. He puts it on my gums. He's like, just a little bit of numbing here. I'm like, okay, that's not that bad. And then he just takes this giant needle. He's like, but you didn't escape this. And I'm like in the chair. Like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh. So anyway, I had this giant needle in my mouth, and my nose was numb. Like my whole face was numb. Oh my gosh, it was the worst. It wasn't the worst experience. I mean, they were very fine. It was fine. It was done. It's done.
It's done now. But leading up to it, you were like, "There's no way. How am I going to do this? How am I going to walk into there confidently and be like, yep, let's go. Let's do it." Mm-hmm.
But the weirdest thing about it is having to learn a new tooth all over again. You would never think that.
I bet
it's like I want to equate it to like a prosthetic leg, and I know that's very dramatic. But it's just like, imagine trying to learn how to shift your weight on this prosthetic leg, or like, or that's the only, anyway. So like trying to learn how to chew and like, I have these things, I suppose a tick or something like that. Perhaps you have some as well. Everybody's got a tick that they do.
Yeah.
Like I move my jaw a certain way. I move my teeth and I fit them together. I grind them a certain way. I don't grind my teeth, but like I clench my jaw a certain way, and I can't do that. Like I literally cannot relax the way that I used to. So I have to, my life has completely changed because of my front tooth.
God, you decided to take a break, and you see what happens, Eric. You see what happens when you leave Twitch.
I get punished for taking time off.
See, that'll teach you. That'll definitely teach you.
Oh, very good. Well, yeah. So there's my Newsbyte. It's a very long and drawn out one, and yes, as we can see in the live feed, I was missing my tooth, but now it's back.
Oh man.
What do you say we move on to our topic of the week?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, topic of the week, we've got a really interesting one here for you. I'll let you lead this off.
You want me to take the lead on this one?
Take the lead. Hey, you're the co-host, man.
So let's see here. The topic of the week is aging like a fine wine or not. And basically, what has not aged well over time and what has? Yeah. I mean, I'll say personally, Taco Bell, man. Taco Bell has been the most consistent thing, minus the Mexican pizza. That's fine. That's okay. The tacos have been the same since I was a kid in the 90s till last week when I had a 12-pack. I mean, it's the same. To me, aged like a fine wine, man. Aged like a fine wine.
I got to say, Taco Bell is probably single-handedly keeping the plumbing industry afloat. It's one of those things. Taco Bell in Australia is slightly different. So it'll never be the same as what I expect, purely because a lot of the ingredients that we find good in the States, like the liquid cheese, are banned in Australia. Like they're just like it's straight chemicals over in the States, but that's what makes it taste good.
That's the magic in it. It's the chemicals.
So, Taco Bell, man, I tell you what, it's been a long time since I had Taco Bell back home. The last time I was back in the States was 2018. And of course, you always got to check out Taco Bell and have some of the, as our good friend Hank Hill says, blast.
That's it.
But what brought this topic on for me is I learned back in the day, I learned about the mall that I used to go to back in the day, which is called the Schuylkill Valley Mall in Pennsylvania, St. Clair, Pennsylvania, or something like that. Frackville, Pennsylvania. Because I grew up in Pennsylvania. I grew up in Eastern PA.
Oh, my condolences.
My condolences. Well, I don't live there anymore. When you grow up in your hometown, whatever, it becomes a place that you're reluctant to even drive through it after a while. So I was doing some reminiscing, and Schuylkill Valley Mall, Schuylkill Mall. It was a great place to go as a kid. I loved to go up there. I loved to go to Electronics Boutique, as it was called growing up. Or I think you had labeled Funko Land on here as well on the document. Mm-hmm. I never went to Funko Land. I think Funko Land shut just before I became aware. You know what I mean? Because the first time I went to EB Games or Electronics Boutique was in 1997 to get a Nintendo 64 and Mario 64. And it was a great place. I love going to the mall. Malls are essentially, it was a product of the 80s and 90s, great place to be. But now malls are all but dead. And I was like, what became of that mall? Turns out they blew it up. They got rid of it. And they
leveled it. They
built a prison.
I mean, if at that point they could have just kept it a mall.
I know, right? We're sentencing you into 3 years in Victoria's Secret. Some people would probably like that. I mean, I don't know.
just keep me out of Sears. That's where that's where you go if you're really doing some hard time. But
I love Sears. That was a great one.
You know what though, dude? I can agree. Malls have not aged well. We went to one a couple weeks ago. I was actually looking forward to a trip to the mall. I was like, yo, I'm going to get a pretzel. We can go to the candy store, get candy by the pound. I was like a dog, yep, go to the park. Yeah, let's go. And dude, we get there and it was depressing. It was so sad. And then the pretzel wasn't good. The candy wasn't good. We got food from the food court. That wasn't good. It was like, you know what? Just knock it all down. Just get rid of it all. I mean, it's a shame because that malls were, dude, you remember you're in high school. What do you want to do? Oh, you want to go to the mall? All right, cool. Let's go. Load up. and then you go and that's it. And you walk around, you just do laps. You don't even buy anything. You're just go.
That was my life in high school. I think it was my sophomore or junior year. I had some friends that were older than me because I played in bands and of course the guys had already graduated. So what better do you have to do than I suppose as an adult post high school, smoke pot and go to the mall? That's what they did. Not that I ever partook. It was just wasn't my thing. I never partook in the left-handed lettuce, as we like to say here, devil's lettuce. What was the giggle bush?
The giggle bush, yeah.
So anyway, I used to wait at like 5 o'clock every night. These two guys would drive up in their like beat up Toyota Corolla.
Oh God!
And we would do the Fairlane Village Mall. We would do the Schuylkill Mall, and then we'd, of course, if we were feeling really adventurous, we would do Walmart. And like,
oh, dude, let me tell you.
Walmart was really it's still kind of fun to mess around and stuff, but the mall is like like you said, doing laps around the mall. It's like, oh my God, that's like a core memory unlocked. I forgot about all that.
You want to know? It's funny you mentioned going to Walmart, because that was the other thing that hasn't aged well. Staying up late. When you're a kid, you cannot wait. You're like, I want to stay up late. All the best things happen late at night. You get older and you're like, man, it's 11 o'clock. Why am I still awake? How am I functioning?
Yeah.
It was, when we were out of high school, it was like, yo, let's all go hang out, blah, blah. All right. Well, now you want to do, I don't want to go home. You want to go to Walmart? It's 3 a.m. Yeah. All right. We'll go to Walmart. It was the most boring. It was something to do, but my God, was it so boring? It's like, nothing happens past midnight. Nothing exciting happens. Nothing, like, it just, day goes on.
Yeah, I know. It's like it's all funny as a teenager. Like, hey, you want to go to Walmart after midnight and like buy a vacuum or something? Like,
yeah.
It's honestly, I said on the pre-show here before we had the co-host reveal. I stayed up until 1 o'clock this morning working on all the graphics and stuff. The visual elements of the podcast today, and I was just so flipping tired. There was a point in time, at least when I was a teenager, where I would stay up till like 6 and go to bed at like 6:30 or something like that, and then I would sleep in until 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yep.
It's gone are those days. I literally, social responsibilities, I don't want any of them, because this is the thing, is like, as soon as somebody says to me like, oh, do you want to go do something, or my precious time is like after 6 o'clock in the evening when my son goes to bed. It's just like, this is my time to work or play a game. How dare anybody like take that away from me by a social responsibility? The last thing I want to do is go down to the pub here and have a pint or something with somebody else. Like, imagine talking to somebody face to face. Yuck.
Yeah, why would you want that? Why would you want that? Ew.
Why would you want to hang out with friends in real life?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, another one here. Actually, two things. Well, it hasn't aged well. Kmart and Toys R Us. What happened to those, huh?
Rest in peace. I know. Hey, I tell you what, Kmart here in Australia is thriving. Have you seen it?
You keep talking about this mythical Kmart you go to, and I'm in disbelief, because they're all gone. They're all Planet Fitnesses now.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, there you go. I mean, like, Kmart is I think I don't know if it's owned by a different company. I've been corrected here before, but Kmart in Australia is just like, it is absolutely booming. Like, every shopping center has a Kmart. It's like a completely different world, honestly. Like, if I filmed a walkthrough, or even if I did the podcast from Kmart, you would be like, it's like a Target, really. It's got a lot of homewares and electronics things. Like, everything's obviously you're a cheaper brand. There's the Kmart brand. Like, it's funny. Like, the brand in Australia is called Anko, ANKO. I think that brand may exist in the States. But it's funny because you can buy like ladies' underwear as the Anko brand, and you can also buy work boots as the Anko brand, or like power strips, or like vlogging lights. Like this one I have right here. This was a $5 Kmart light. This is great. It's just like, it's an all-encompassing kind of deal, almost like how Walmart. You can go to Walmart in the States and buy everything.
Yeah,
like you can get your tires changed, and then you can also buy. Well, I can't say, like, adult products. You can buy a television, and then you can also, if you're really hungry, you can go buy broccoli too. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one-stop shop. I mean, it is super convenient, but man, it's crazy how those stores are still like a Walmart or a Target. It's crazy how those are still surviving after so many of their fallen brethren.
Well,
have been
there was a point
dust.
where Walmart bought out everybody.
Okay,
You know what I
makes
mean?
sense.
They shut down all the mom and pop things, and now the only place that people go to grocery shop really now is now Walmart. But I suppose, depending on your outlook, Walmart may have aged like milk.
They could have aged like milk. I mean, I think at some point I'll be aging like milk myself.
Oh, I'm
I'll
already
tell you
there.
what, today after working on the house, I definitely feel it.
I bet. I mean, you're slightly older than me, so
Oh, slightly. I mean, by what, like 4 years?
something like that. I mean, you're close
Give
to
or
40.
take.
You're close to 40. I'm
Oh,
20,
wow.
22. So.
Jeez. Oh my. Well, all right. Well, I got a Starship. I gotta go service, man. I'll see you. It's just so crazy. And, I know you were talking about on the little document we had, talking about like what has aged well, what hasn't. And
Yes.
I mean, look at Saturday morning cartoons for
Yes, for
something
sure.
that has. I mean, at least for me, I had the OG Looney Tunes. I had Wacky Races. I had so all the Scooby Doos. I mean, from like Pup Named Scooby Doo to Scoob and Scrappy, I had it all.
Yeah.
Those are great. Now, like, if you get a chance to watch some of the kids' cartoons now, my God, they're good. They're funny. There's a lot of adult jokes in there that obviously a kid's not going to get, but I'm like, oh yeah, all right, I'll watch this. This has my attention.
It's funny. Like if you go back and watch shows that you watched as a kid, there's a lot of like adult humor in there that obviously you would never have picked up on at all.
I mean, Ren and Stimpy, for example. And
That show is really dark.
It's beyond dark.
It's weird.
It shouldn't have been shown to us as children.
No, not at all. Man, you mentioned like Saturday morning cartoons. I obviously don't have a chance to watch Saturday morning cartoons. I usually watch. I think the momentum has shifted now for kids. It's all YouTube shows now. Like my son, he'll sit and watch his shows. One of his favorite shows is called Genevieve's Playhouse. It's some like 40-year-old dude. He's obviously like a parent, and like his daughter has all the toys, and he plays make believe with like the little Paw Patrol toys or Thomas the Tank Engine, like or whatever. So like we sit and watch that. But when my son gets to the age where he'll actually watch cartoons, I would actually love to see how far things have changed. But like back in my day, I was watching like Yu-Gi-Oh and Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon, like all that.
Man,
the 4Kids era of I can't remember whether it was like Cartoon Network. No, not Cartoon Network, like Fox or something like that.
Yeah.
Those shows were fine,
I mean, you had because you had that on Fox, and then on Cartoon Network you had Toonami. I mean, look at the things we had there. That was some good stuff.
Yeah, the Toonami was really great. I loved that. I remember staying up late to watch Toonami. And what's the guy that voices the what's the Toonami robot? Steve Bloom. He's a really great voice actor. Spike from Cowboy Bebop. So like I loved that mystique. I loved all that, and that's how I got introduced to anime and stuff like that. So I think stuff like that has aged well because they actually they cut it out and then they brought it back because it's due to fan demand, and I think it's still ongoing. So
yeah,
certainly something that I would enjoy should I have the time to partake, of course.
Oh yeah.
One last thing as well. We mentioned malls. That obviously has not aged well, but I miss, and this is perhaps nostalgia goggle time. I miss walking the mall like Saturday morning or Sunday morning like that. I used to see all of the people had like trading card tables. Like I remember seeing tons of Pokemon cards back in the day. Of course, that would be valued at well over six figures, because nobody knew how to value their things back then. A holographic Charizard, who would have thought that would be an expensive card now?
I know.
And like even the games as well. Of course, I love my retro games as just as much as you do, but like collecting them now has been financially almost unobtainable. So like that hasn't aged very well since we were kids. Nobody really knew to hold on to these things as well. Like people just, some of the boxes on like some of the Super Nintendo games that I've been buying, it says packaging is recyclable. And of course, there's more loose cartridges and manuals than there are boxes because everybody just tore into the box. I remember doing it as a kid, and it just makes my skin crawl. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. I mean, because recently I picked up Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga Complete Unbox.
Yes.
And I was like holding it, man, unlock that memory where it's Christmas time. You're looking at the presents, you're browsing, you're like, all right, you're scanning up. That's a Game Boy game.
Yep.
That's a Super Nintendo game. That's a PlayStation game. And then you open it, it's a CD, and you're like, man, whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, you know what I mean? Holding that again was like it was the nostalgia glasses were definitely on. I can tell you that much.
For sure. And I think there's a certain element of nostalgia that's involved when it comes to collecting things, because not only is it well, first and foremost, it's a financial commitment, because
it is.
I mean, I recently bought all my Holy Grails, Earthbound and Chrono Trigger and stuff like that. They were not cheap at all, but they cost a lot of money, and it's just the value of those are only growing and climbing over time. But nobody knew to hold on to those as kids.
No. Well, I mean, when you look at everything that was marketed for kids, it was all like, get it, play it, throw it away. Get it, play it, throw it away. So like, it was kind of like you were in this cycle to where it's like, all right, cool. Next new shiny thing, please. Thank you. It's like, or the kids grow up. And I mean, I went through it. I went through when I was like 17, 18, I'm like, I don't want to play video games again. Like, I'd rather do other things. Yeah, dude, there was a point where I got into cars super heavy. I was really into turning a wrench and making my car sound like it'll wake you up at 4 a.m. than
interesting,
just sitting down and playing video games. So like, it was what got me back in. I think it was like 2016, 2017. I bought an Xbox One and a flat screen, and I'm like, yep, I'm going to play some games.
Nice. Well, that's a good choice, of course. I mean, I don't own an Xbox anymore, but I mean, there's so much available on the console now that you can play and whatever. So like, that's something that's actually aged really well if you want to keep it topical.
Yes.
Because when the Xbox One came out, like you remember the TV, but now it's just like Game Pass, and like this is a console that's very inclusive of people playing games for $15 a month. The Netflix of games. That's what that's become. So
it's crazy how much they grew, man, because now you can buy, I think it's one of the new Samsungs, you can buy that and it comes with Game Pass app installed. You just have to sign in and get a controller.
Interesting.
So that's obviously you need the membership, but like, yeah, you can buy your new TV, your new smart TV, go right to the Xbox app and xCloud. And I'll tell you what, xCloud is pretty good. A lot of people knock it because it's streaming, but it's by far the best streaming I've experienced.
Interesting. That's very interesting. I've got a PC here, of course, that can handle all that stuff. And of course, topical PCs have gotten really great, and we can play Xbox Game Pass and stuff like that. So, whether it's malls that have been demolished and now turned into prisons, or Xbox Ones that were, first marketed as television monoliths turned into Game Pass machines. Things have changed. And speaking of things, Stranger Things, obviously we just finished that. I don't want to get into any spoilers, of course, in the event that anybody hasn't seen it, but I think it's really funny because Stranger Things is set in the 80s, obviously the most famous decade of all time. So I find it interesting that everybody has a nostalgia for the 80s, whether you were born in the 80s or not. And I always think it's funny that people call back to the 80s, whether or not it's new Ghostbusters movies or the new Top Gun, just revisiting that 80s nostalgia is a very funny thing. So it's obviously a formula that worked at one point in time. So it's a cash cow. The 80s were a cash cow, man.
I mean, look at everything from designs to whatever. I mean, everything has that 80s vibe. I'm waiting for the styrofoam cups to come back with the green and purple squiggly line. I'm waiting for it. I'll buy a case of them and send one your way.
I do miss those. I remember going to gas stations when I was a kid and getting the ices, the Frozens, in those. Man, when did styrofoam cups phase out? Like I think Five Guys still has them or not? Or, I don't know.
There's a lot of places. I think Sonic uses them. I mean, they get rid of straws, but they keep the styrofoam. I don't understand the logic there, but
it's the shadow government manipulating you there.
Oh my God. The shadow government being the turtles.
Very
Which,
good.
hey,
So,
speaking of turtles,
yeah,
did you play Shredder's
Shell,
Revenge yet?
Shell, yes, I did. So good. I beat it too.
Oh man, it is. It's a fantastic game. I'd like to see more beat 'em ups done like that because my God.
Absolutely. It's great. And you know what? It looks really great on the CRT behind me too.
I bet, dude. I bet it looks great.
So there you go. Aging like a fine wine or not. Certain things that we remember growing up have aged really well or just not aged well at all. So I would love to know what anybody else thinks. If when this goes on YouTube, let me know down below in the comments. We would love to see what you think has aged well or has not. Because obviously this will be uploaded to YouTube after the fact. We've got one more segment left for today, and this is an audience participation one. What do you say we open up the phone lines with chat with the champs? That's right. This is the segment where you can call in, into the show 315-314-4190. It is, I don't know if it's toll-free line or not. To be honest with you, because this is our first episode, I honestly don't anticipate anybody calling in. But I think we would just, if you guys want to call and talk about any random topic, or I can prepare one for you, or we can prepare one for you, depending on if anybody calls in. But we might as well kill time while we wait for the phones to ring. Yeah. How's the show going so far? What do you think?
I think it's going quite well. I mean, it's the first show. We'll hit our stride. You know what I mean? The first show is always the awkward one. You know, you're feeling each other out.
Oh,
getting up.
Hello, welcome to the program. Who do we have on the line?
Hey, it is Marky Mark. How goes it, guys?
Oh, hello. How are you? By the way, you can. I think you can hear Kitsune Bites Aaron on the line. Can you?
I can hear Marky Mark too.
I cannot.
Okay, fair enough. Well, it's this is one of the technical things that I tried to work out before the show, and I couldn't get it. So we're gonna wing it. But thanks for calling in. What do you want to chat about?
Mm-hmm. Well, honestly, I want to chat about a little bit of just how Final Fantasy VII has blown my expectations out of the water.
Thank you. Yes, this is a great topic. Let's hear it. Let's talk about it.
So basically, like going in, I had avoided that game for years just because I considered it a hype machine. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's the best thing ever," and I was like, "It can't be that great." I mean, I played Final Fantasy VI. I know what's good. Oh, I did.
Man.
I also did not anticipate how strong Ruby Weapon was going to be.
Oh, yeah. It's all very difficult, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, got in, one attack, party wipe. Like, that's not happening.
That's it.
But no, just all the different themes it pulls on. And I won't get into any stuff like for spoilers because I know there's some people in chat who are just playing it for the first time. Actually, I want to say, Kitsune Bites, aren't you just playing it for the first time?
I am. So I unfortunately haven't had a chance to go back to it yet because I've had some things going on here.
Talking or not, I'm assuming.
But I've been loving it so much, and I was like you before. I'm like, why does everybody like this Final Fantasy VII game? Like, come on, man. There's got to be other things out there to play. And I'll tell you what, I get it now. I get it. Just a little bit I've played, I get it. And I'm with you. I don't want to give, spoiler stuff away, but there was a scene where I had a choice. Okay. I had a choice to make.
In the background.
Oh, hey, it's fine. It's happening over here too. I got to a scene. I had to make a choice. So I was like, okay, in my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna go left instead of going right. And I start moving my characters because, mind you, I've never played a game before where like the scene's painted, but there's just a linear path they want you to travel on. And I'm like, okay, I wanted to go left, and now I'm going right. So we'll see how. Yeah, it was not. It was a struggle. But it was one of those things that made me go, all right, this game has a lot more than what meets the eye. And let me tell you, the motorcycle part.
Oh, it's great. It's all
I
good.
want to. Yeah, I want to play it again if I can. Like I didn't save before that, but I would love to play that again.
I remember when I was a kid that sequence where the party escapes from the Shinra building. That there's that CG sequence that plays where Cloud gets in and he's on the motorcycle. I remember getting up to that point in the game, and then I had it was a CRT with a VCR combo. I remember hitting tape so I recorded that segment. Because it was so cool. Honestly, like back in the late 90s, like seeing CG graphics like that, it honestly looked like I was looking at a mirror. And I've said this before on different social platforms, but it was like such a great experience, and it's such a timeless experience. And Mark, you mentioned you played Final Fantasy VI, and you were worried that Final Fantasy VII was a victim of overhype. Well, like it's flip flop for me, because like, to me, Final Fantasy VI is a victim of overhype, and I feel like I appreciate it so much more now because I've played Final Fantasy II on the Super Nintendo, so I have reference for like where that game is and like what people's expectations were coming into it, so I can understand the gravitas of the game now. So, but Final Fantasy VII is timeless game, great story, great music, great gameplay. It's just it is a genre defining, and it's a very important game in video game culture.
And I have to say, the noodle arms have definitely grown on me.
Noodle arms, my God.
Definitely, potentially some tattoo inspiration in the future.
Ah, very good.
There you go.
I love that. Well, hey, look, Mark, thanks so much for calling in and chatting about one of my favorite games. Obviously, you can see it on the wall behind me. Final Fantasy VII. I hope that you're continuing to. Did you say you beat it, or?
I have not. I've been kind of doing some side quest stuff.
Yeah.
I just got Cloud's ultimate weapon.
Nice.
I realized that I have missed out on getting his final limit break, so that's breaking my heart.
Yes.
But either way, I'm looking forward to finishing it tonight before I go to bed.
Oh, very good. Well, keep us posted.
There you go.
I would love to hear how you go.
All right.
Cool.
Well, you guys take care.
Thanks so much. We'll chat soon.
Take it easy.
Ta-da.
Bye.
Oh, that's great. I love that. Great game. Final Fantasy VII. Love that game. Timeless classic.
It is. Do you know anyone who does any covers for that? Because I feel like Final Fantasy VII music would be great.
I don't know. Don't know.
You don't know? No, okay. All right. I mean, I'd grab an album if I knew that they.
If there was an album called Livestream, I'd make it. Hey, speaking of stuff, we got time for one more call. If anybody else wants to call in, 315-314-4190. I would love to chat to you. We would love to chat to you about what you want to talk about. Oh my gosh. Hello, how are you? Welcome to the show. Who are we talking to?
What's up? This is Krosif.
Hey, how's it going?
Bro, buddy.
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Great. I'm sorry you can't hear Aaron or Kitsune Bites on the phone line, but you can hear him on the stream. Technical difficulties. My bad.
Yeah. These things happen. It's touch and go with tech sometimes.
Oh my goodness.
I don't have the stream pulled up because I've been watching it on my phone.
Oh, fair enough.
So I'm going to have to infer from your reaction what Kitsune Bites is saying.
Yes, of course.
think I can do it though.
He's laughing right now.
Okay. All right. So here's a weird thing. And if you don't want to take this topic, don't want to talk about it, just tell me that. I have been having some weird stuff happening with online dating. Do you want to hear about it?
Of course. I would love to hear your
Okay.
You're not the Tinder swindler, are you?
Oh, no.
I'm not that cool.
Not that cool.
But, okay, so just Kitsune Bites knows this. So just a little bit of background. About a little more than a year ago, I started learning how to play cello. And so I'm taking cello lessons, and that's just kind of like background for this.
Sure.
The universe keeps throwing women at me who play either violin or cello. I've gotten to the point on online dating where I'm not really like actively seeking people, but they're finding me. I do not anywhere on my profile mention that I am an aspiring musician in this way, but the first woman that I'm serious. The first woman I went on a date with was like a professional bluegrass violinist. Turned out she lived about 90 minutes away. So that was kind of a wash.
Long distance.
Check it out. The second woman I met, she was taking cello lessons from the exact same guy I'm taking cello lessons from.
No way.
Yeah.
I know. I live in a city of about 350,000, and so I don't know what the odds of that are, but I feel like it's got to be pretty slim.
Very slim.
Long story short, it's weird. It's weird. So 2 times since then, one time I met this doctor who was just here on her residency who played cello. And now I've met this other woman that I went on a date with yesterday, and she plays violin. So I guess what I would like to, consult with the council about is, do you think that the universe is messing with me? What's going on? Is this some cosmic practical joke?
It's funny. We've got Sob Steve in the chat. It says, must be in the algorithm. I don't know how, but surely I've never used Tinder, so I cannot parlay any experiences here. But that is surely something's sneaky about that. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe you ever talking to your phone? It's like, oh, I might want KFC later, and then you get sponsored ads everywhere. It's like, oh no, I play cello. So Tinder's like, actually, I'm going to give you every woman in the world in your neck of the woods anyway that plays cello.
That could be, but they're self-selecting. I mean, it's not like, and when they look at my profile, there's nothing on there that says cello. So, I mean, maybe my profile's getting shown to more musicians. That's a possibility.
Possibly.
Could it be that he has a vibe
I really start to feel like, I'm getting punked by God or something.
This is so funny. There's people in the chat that are saying this, and it's my brain goes to joke mode, or how can I turn this into a pun just to make a laugh? And everybody's already saying, do you answer your phone by saying cello? Surely you have to start doing that now. If you don't,
I think I would need more kids to be able to pull that joke off.
Yes, I suppose so. I mean, thankfully I've got a license for that.
God.
But man, that's so weird. I honestly, that's I can't even. Celestial shenanigans, as Lesson Sarah in the chat says. That's the only thing that I can describe that as. That's very strange. But I suppose it works.
It is. I know.
I mean, you're interested in these cello musicians, women, or I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I am. All but one of them are outstrip my musical talent by great lengths. There was the third one, the second one I met was actually taking lessons too. So it's just one of those weird things. So I thought I would call and share that with the world. And I don't know, maybe we'll break the curse, and this new cellist will be the one.
Well, there you go. Perhaps we can say our prayers to the RN Jesus and break the cycle. Honestly, out of all the calls that I would have expected for the show today, this was not it. But I'm so glad this was it. This is so funny.
Oh, okay. The last thing I'll say, and then I'll leave y'all to it, is Cuphead is still a very hard game, even with the new DLC.
Oh, I can imagine. Cuphead is one of those games that I give up on because it's just too damn hard. I can't even fight the first boss. It's too much for me.
Yeah.
Oh, just beautiful with the artwork. Okay, guys, have a great night.
Thank you so much for calling in.
See you, Crow.
See ya.
Thank y'all.
So unfortunately, he couldn't hear you because he wasn't listening to the stream. But
I know
that was so flippin' funny. Honestly, I could not imagine signing up for a dating apps, and the only people that get thrown at me are people that are violinists or cello musicians. That's just really weird.
See what, and this is just that I'm hoping that Krosov can hear me now. What he needs to do is start to learn to take the cello and just play it as an upright bass. Then if he can meet some a lady that plays saxophone, clarinet, they could start a jazz group. I mean, hear me out on this. You could make something out of this, man. When the universe gives you lemons, make jazz.
Something like that, sure. my final point on this. We'll cap that at the calls. Thank you so much, Marky Mark and Krosov, for calling in. Great calls.
Yes, thank you.
Krosov, I just hope that none of these women string you along.
Absolutely.
Well, there you go. I think that's a pretty successful first episode for essentially kind of winging it, or in Krosov's case, stringing it.
That's it. You know, I mean, flying by the seat of my pants is my style, man. So you know, just wanting to go into it, I'm like, yep, I'm ready. Let's do it.
That's usually how we do things. Oh well, it's the only way that I do things now, purely because it's a time constriction. So you know, it is what it is. But I had fun. It's a great start to a long-standing podcast. For those that are currently watching live, please stay tuned. We will have a post show where we can kind of debrief and chat with you guys a little bit more. In future, as of right now, I don't have it all set up, but after this episode, it will be set up. The podcast will be going to Spotify and iTunes and Stitcher and all that good stuff. There will also be a YouTube channel set up so you guys can watch the replays. So if you are listening on iTunes after the fact, please go and rate the podcast. Give it 5 stars. It obviously helps for visibility. Share with your friends and all that stuff. None of this stuff is set up right now as of what I'm talking about. I actually need the episode to upload first. But if you're starting and you're binging everything, please listen and let us know your thoughts. Going forward, I also will have a document called Chat with the Champs, where you guys can fill it out. I think I might be able to put it in the chat now. I'm not sure. Actually, I'll hold off. We'll save that for next week. A document where you can fill it out. And if you guys want us to call and talk about anything topical or a funny story that's happened to you, we can give you a call and arrange a time to discuss that on the show and make a topic about it. One other point, going forward, I also would like to have guests on the show and talk to these people, the champions, so to speak, about what they do with their lives and you know, whether it's work or games or a specific industry. I just want to kind of do a deep dive and just learn more about people. I think with the Breakfast of Champions kind of deal is it's a podcast that can be consumed by anyone, anywhere, anytime. And I want to know about anyone else. I want to know about what they do with their time. So whether, you know, games, whatever, we're gonna learn more. But I wanted to start with the first couple episodes, you know, with the Rock Solid Foundation and kind of learn our chemistry and learn all that. But I've had a lot of fun. How about you?
I've been having a blast, man. I've been really looking forward to this for a very long time. And it's been very hard to not say like that I was doing this with you. I mean, it was tough. It was tough.
Nobody guessed it. Put it that way.
Nobody. Oh, come on, guys. You let me down, man.
That's very good. I've had a great time, and like I've been wanting to do this show since like April of this year, 2022 now. But the life got busy, and like, you know, it's finally July now. For me, it's July 4th in Australia. So I would tell you what, it's a long time coming, and I could not wait to get it done. And I just wanted to finally commit to a date so I can just do it. Because the thing is, as with anything in life, you can procrastinate or you can just do it and then refine as you go. But you can't refine if you don't have anything. So
right.
There you go. Any final words for the show before we move on to the post show, which is exclusive to the live people watching now on Twitch?
You know what? I'm outside of the active war zone that's going on outside my window. I have nothing, man. This was good. This was a solid first episode. And I was having a Baja blast the whole time.
Baja blast. We'll leave it with that. Stay tuned, everybody. If you're watching live, stay tuned for the post show. Everybody listening or watching after the fact, thanks so much for watching and tuning in. Please leave comments down below on the YouTube videos, and I would love to chat with you guys. We would love to chat with you guys right on iTunes and Stitcher and all that good stuff. Helps grow the podcast, and share with your friends. Otherwise, we'll see you back here for episode 2. So stay tuned, live people. We'll be right back. Otherwise, that's it for episode 1.